Andy Grammer's voice poured through Dani's speakers as she and her girls sat in the middle of her living room. The three best friends passed a bottle of tequila as they reminisced on their high school days. "Didn't you fuck her?" Ellie asked, pointing an accusatory finger at Dani. "The gym teacher?" Dani and Maggie yelled simultaneously. "Yeah. You can't tell me you didn't. You and Miss P were way too close," said Ellie. "You're done. No more for you," Maggie yelled, snatching the bottle from Ellie. "So?" Ellie yelled, awaiting her answer. "No comment," Dani said, simply causing the other two women to erupt in a fit of booze. "Hush you two. It's late, and I'm not trying to get kicked out of my apartment," Dani said just before a knock came at her door. "See, you two are way too loud," she said, waving a finger back and forth between her friends. Getting up off the ground, she made her way to the door and looked through the peephole. On the other side of the door stood Ellie's little brother, Brock, and his best friend, Evan. "Let us in," the men said. Dani sighed and turned back to the women who were now staring at her, wondering who was at the door. "You invited Brock?" she said, looking at Ellie. "Ew, no," Ellie said, getting up and making her way to the door. "Dani, come on, let us in," Evan said, pounding on the door. Not wanting the men to break down her door, Dani opened it, letting them in. "Hey Dan, happy birthday," Brock said as he and Evan made their way through the door. Though girls' night was officially over, Dani wasn't mad about seeing her best friend's little brother and his best friend. Though she'd never tell them to their faces, Dani always had a blast when she hung out with the two men. "This is how you're celebrating the big 30, Dani?" Brock said, looking around at the snacks and board games littering the floor and coffee table. "Yeah, Dani's not really the clubbing type. You know that," Maggie said. "Come on, Dan. Live a little, be young," Evan said with a groan. "You just want to use us so you can get into some hot new club, don't you?" Dani said, looking at the men suspiciously. The men looked at one another before looking back at the women. The women laughed as they playfully shoved the men. "All right, fine," Dani said, causing the men to high-five one another. Grabbing her girls, Dani vanished into her bedroom. Evan and Brock flopped down onto the couch as the bedroom door shut. "You think Maggie, Dani, and Ellie have ever had a threesome?" Evan asked, seemingly out of nowhere. Brock gagged. "Dude, what the fuck? Ellie's my sister and Dani and Maggie are also like my sisters," Brock said, looking at his friend with disgust. "Dude, chill, it was just a question," said Evan with a laugh. Brock rolled his eyes. Evan opened his mouth to speak when Brock hit him with a look that froze him in place. "No more questions," he repeated, a serious look on his face. Brock rolled his eyes as he fell back on the couch. Then, before either man could say anything else, Dani and the girls made their way back downstairs dressed for the club. "All right, boys, vamos," Maggie said as they began making their way to the door. Outside Dani's place, Brock and Evan played a quick game of rock, paper, scissors to decide who the designated driver would be. Much to his disappointment, Evan ended up losing, best 2 out of 3. With a victorious smile, Brock tossed his friend the keys, and Evan unlocked the car, allowing the gang to all hop inside. On the way to the club, Dani played DJ while Maggie and Ellie belted the words to each and every song while Brock and Evan pretended to hate every moment of it. For more LGBTQIA stories like this one, visit the royalbluenetwork.lgbt.